Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. I'm the best looking dad you'll ever see. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday, Dad.
You are.
How old are you today?
I'm older than you are.
I hope so.
67.
That's old.
I was born in 1955. I was born in the middle of the last century.
Yeah.
Crazy,
That's
dude.
cool. Crazy, dude.
Right? 1955. Go back and look and see what cars looked like in 1955. You know television hadn't been invented yet?
No way. No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
What do you define television?
I'm not even sure there was black and white television.
There was black and white TV.
In 1955, there wasn't very many.
I know.
The TV really didn't start coming out
black and white
early
movies
60s.
Black and white movies were around for 100 years.
Movies, but not TVs.
Okay, like sent to people's...
Yeah, on TV,
Okay.
television.
Okay, yeah.
Television. You know what television stands for? Television means we're going to tell you what to think. They did it blatantly. But anyway, so today we're talking about something different. You always get us off subject.
That's my fault.
It is.
Yeah. So I think what we're doing is fun, and I enjoy it a lot. But when people see the channel,
I'll let that go.
when people watch the channel and hear what we do, they always go, wow, I wish I could do that. That looks like a lot of fun.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of things that people should know before trying to live off grid or be self-sufficient or, do all of these things. So what are some words of advice you could give people who are trying to live off grid? Some things they might not know, or some things, some hard-fitting truths that you should tell some people.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's a little challenging. How do you give advice on a general subject to a whole lot of different people with a whole lot of different qualities and a whole lot of different goals?
Yeah. Well, we'll say the goal.
Just do it.
Just do it.
There you go. Just do it. So, okay, well, I think there are some basic things. For instance, you've got to be willing to fail.
Yeah.
Because if you can't fail, if you're not willing to fail and appreciate failing, then you're never going to get anywhere, because this is all about, in fact, probably life is about failing and learning and repeating it until you get it right.
Yeah.
So I've never been afraid to fail. In fact, I fail a lot. So I think that's a crucial thing. Another thing I think is to have somebody with a ability to envision what it is you're going to do.
Yeah.
You got to have something in your mind that you're going forward to.
Yeah.
Something that pulls you, drives you to a goal. Mm-hmm. Because living off grid is not easy.
No.
Well,
it isn't.
It could be. You could get an old broken down VW van and stick it in the woods and put a solar panel on the roof and near a creek and go down and take a used milk jug and get water and bathe with. Dig a hole in the woods and poop.
Yeah.
So you could do that.
I don't want to do that.
No, I don't either. So, I mean, you want to live comfortably, then you got to start somewhere. So that starts with a vision. So no matter where you are, you define where you are, you define kind of where you want to go, and you say, okay, how am I going to get to there? And so you make a loose plan. Like when we moved here, when we were looking for property, when we were looking for something, what did we look for?
We wanted to be kind of close to the airport, but we wanted...
that's crucial. That's crucial.
For me it is. For me it is.
So important.
That's the first thing that came
Whatever you do, make sure you're close to an airport.
Okay.
All
right. Time out. Okay. In terms of what we needed, that's what we needed.
That's true.
But
on
in a general sense, right?
Yeah.
We needed fresh water. Right?
Right. Because water is crucial, right? Because you got to have water, because you can't depend on somebody for water unless you're in some place that rains a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
We wanted land, right? And I know that's a thing.
Kind of land.
We wanted specific land that was useful for different things that we wanted. For example, a garden.
That's right. So we needed some sort of a flat area with decent sun
and good soil.
Mm-hmm. We didn't get the flat land, did we?
No. Or the sun part.
No, or the sun. We had to create both of those. We didn't create the sun. We just had to clear it to make the sun come in. Yep, right? So we needed a food. We're talking about food production. All right, what else?
I'm lost already. See, this is why.
We know why the vision is. So we needed woods.
Yeah.
Why did we need trees?
Lumber.
We needed lumber. We knew we were going to be building, so we knew we didn't want to be dependent on a lumber yard. So we knew we had planned all along on getting a sawmill of some sort.
Yeah.
And having enough trees to where we didn't just clear cut everything, we had enough trees to create our own lumber. Another thing that we had thought about was with the water, we wanted streams for hydroelectric power.
Yeah.
So one of the things you want to be off grid is to be comfortable is you really need some kind of power. You know, I mean, you don't have to have it, but sure is nice to have lights, battery chargers, you know, things like that. Even stoves, refrigerators, air conditioning is nice when it's 100 degrees outside. So those kinds of things, right? So to create your own power, you can do solar panels, you can do hydroelectric, and you can do windmill. Now, of those three, wind is probably fairly inexpensive relatively, but there's a lot of maintenance and you have to have a lot of wind. And usually you only find that out in clear, flat areas like out in the plains or by the water where there's a difference in temperatures. So wind power was out. Solar is good if you have good sun, but boy, is it expensive. Yeah. As we just found out, right? And then hydroelectric is the best. Hydro generation power. That's the best way to do power because it's unlimited. The water's running all the time. And you can build a hydroelectric plant out of a old washing machine.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. You can take an old washing machine and do some things to it, and you can actually create a hydropower that'll create enough power to run not a big house, but a decent size. So we wanted streams running through our property. Yeah. That was kind of important, too. We also wanted to be away from everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because we didn't want people coming around and circling us and then us being this little enclave. And we also wanted land that was relatively rural or virgin for wildlife. Yeah. So not that we eat a lot of meat and we have not hunted yet, but we can. If we have to. Like last night coming home, we almost hit 4 deer. Yeah. And that was down on the road. That wasn't even here. We know there's many, many deer in here. And turkeys. If we have to, we could do that. So those are some of the things we look for. So then you have those natural things to start with, a base to start with, and then you start whatever it is you want to do. Skills are important. Yeah. You can learn them. And part of the things we do on the videos is try to teach some of those skills in a indirect way, but those skills aren't taught much anymore. No, they're not. There's a lot of trade into it. Right, and people now think they can't do something, that they've got to hire somebody to do something, and that's just not that way at all. We could do everything we wanted to. Here, we could have done the roof. It would have taken us a long, long time, and we'd have died of heat. Yeah. But, you know, where these guys came out and knocked it out in a day, I'd rather spend my time earning the something to trade for that, whether it's money or whatever. Someday it may not be money. Someday it may be food, right, or water, or whatever, right? So yeah, so skills are good, and so you need to probably start with basic skills. You know, just learn some skills.
Because a lot of the times when you're out here, you're alone in a sense, right? Yes. You're self-sufficient. That's the goal. You know, when you're out here, you don't call a plumber when something breaks. You don't call an electrician when something breaks, right? And being able to have the tools and the skills to fix that is crucial. And that's something I lack in right now. Luckily, I have the tools because of you, but I don't really have the skills and knowledge of that. And that's kind of one of the reasons.
You're learning though, aren't you?
I'm learning slowly but surely.
Yep. The cameraman's learning too.
He is.
He has to. So yeah, and the other thing you see as you learn these things is how important it is to know these things. Yeah. It's not fun. No. I mean, I enjoy it.
Because you've learned it, though.
Well, I've always kind of enjoyed it, even then when I didn't know what I was doing. So I guess that's innate, right? Even now when we did the bad boy and I couldn't figure that out, it's like, I'll figure it out. It's almost a test, right? Yeah. I'll figure it out. And luckily we still have internet so we can search.
YouTube's a great place to learn.
YouTube's a great place to learn. Instead of watching, I'm not going to say that. Instead of watching other things, watch things where you learn something, right?
Learning is important. You don't have much time in your day. There really isn't.
You don't have much time in your life.
Yeah.
So I'm 67. So I think production years, maybe 80, maybe 85, maybe.
Yeah.
So let's say 87. Let's say I stay fit and healthy more or
look
less
at this guy. He's
for
good.
87, right? That's 20 years. I have 20 summers left.
Right.
You've only been alive for 23 summers.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I only have 20 summers left.
Mm-hmm.
So time goes really, really fast. So the only thing people go is, I wish I'd started earlier.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So what are the skills? I think the ability to
Learn.
Yeah, well, we talked a little bit about learning, but I think one of the other ones would be to power through,
The self-discipline.
well, the discipline to keep going even though it doesn't seem right or it's really hard or,
Yeah.
like I work a lot. I start at 7 and I go till 5:30, 6, 7. You guys say I don't have much fun, but on the other hand, you go, wow, look at all that we got done.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't do both, right? Sometimes you can. So to me, I make it fun. And if you think about, the guys who founded the country and who moved west and from the East Coast, even into Appalachia and on in Ohio when it was Indian territory and on past Mississippi and all. Those guys worked hard. It was brutal. And they lived off grid.
Yeah.
But it was brutal.
There was no grid.
Right? They pulled trees by hand, pulled stumps with mules. Golly, I can't even imagine that. But you do what you have to do. I think there's a big tendency. I think we don't talk about this much, but I believe there's a worldwide global conspiracy and cabal of very powerful people that have for decades have worked to take over the world.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'm convinced of it. And one of the ways they've done it originally was take over the education of children. Because if you can educate today's children, in 2 decades, those children will be running the government. And so if you can dumb down this group of kids, in 2 years, you'll have a dumb government. Do I need to say anything else?
No.
Right? So they dumb down deliberately children for decades. They don't teach them any skills. You don't do home economics. You don't do mechanics. We had woodworking. We had mechanics. We didn't have home economics, but the girls did, right? I think guys should have it too. Guys should learn to cook and do all this stuff. But we did woodworking shop. We did machinist shop in school.
Yeah.
That's all gone. Nobody does that anymore. They don't teach kids that. So I guess what I'm saying is that you're talking about learning and that you don't know enough yet. You can't learn it all immediately.
Right.
So my goal partly is to help you learn all these things, even if I have to push back sometimes kind of hard, what seems to be hard, to get you up to that point. Because one day, your mom hopes, you're going to be doing this for your kids. And if you don't know it, you won't teach them.
Yeah.
Because that's how it works. That's what they want. They want you not teaching your kids anything. So their kids are completely oblivious. And they'll never go off grid and challenge the system.
Yeah.
They don't want anybody challenging the system. So my thing is, I guess, all right, change your thinking. Get out of group thinking. If you're going to go and be individual, be individual. Learn skills that you need to learn. Don't be afraid not to start because you don't know the skills, because you'll learn the skills. When we first started sailing, I read every book I could find. I think there was 3 libraries right around Fort Lauderdale where we were living. And I read every sailing book in every one of those libraries. Every one of them. And then those got me to other books in other places. And you couldn't order online then, but I would find them. I read a story about a dad whose wife left him with 5 kids. He decided he was going to go around the world on a boat. He took his 5 kids. One of them was 2 years old. Put them on this old boat and they left. He'd never been sailing before. He went around the world with his kids. They grew up on a boat, right? So what I'm saying is, don't be now that's a little extreme, but
he did it.
He did it,
And if
it
he
tells
can do
the
it,
story.
you can do it.
And guess what people told him? Right?
You're crazy.
Oh, you're endangering your children. You're a monster. And his children turned out to be awesome kids. They spoke several languages. They knew all about cultures from all over the world. They knew all about boats and repairing things. That's what you have to do. So, yeah.
Get out of your comfort zone.
Get out of your comfort zone.
Do what you want to do in your life. What your heart calls you to do. And don't be afraid of what other people say.
Yeah.
and follow it.
Yeah, people say all my life when sailing and RV, oh, I wish I could do that. Well, why don't you? Oh,
yeah.
I got kids and I got grandkids and I got grandparents and parents and I got roots and my wife's in the social flower club and and all excuses.
Yeah.
And good excuses. I'm not saying they're bad excuses.
But excuses are excuses.
Excuses are excuses. If you got to live your life.
Yeah.
If people go along with you, that's awesome, right? But you got to live your life, because if you don't, you're not living a life.
And you'll have regret later in life.
Oh,
That's all you'll have.
That's all you'll have.
That's all you'll have is regret.
Yeah. I may be scarred and have some broken bones and stuff, but I found a woman, Shelley, who kind of agreed. One of the things I don't know if she'll admit to this, but one of the things when we first started dating, I said, look, I'm going around the world on a boat, and if you don't want to do that, we probably shouldn't even get together. Didn't I say that, Shelley?
Yeah.
Right? Because I knew back then I'd never done it, but I was gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to lie to her and say, look, let's get together and go, hey, we're going around the world, right?
Yeah.
No, you find a partner who'll do what you want to do and who wants the same things. And then you work together to make those things happen.
Awesome. Thanks, Dad.